Oh, hi there. It's Karen. I've come to tell you a story from Stories That Never Grow Old. Sometimes we have stories that are new and sometimes stories that never grow old. And today is one of the really great old ones. This is called The Boy and the North Wind. A long time ago in Norway, a boy lived with his mother. One day she gave him a bowl and said, "Go to the storehouse and bring me some meal for our porridge." The boy crossed the yard and filled the bowl in the storehouse. But the moment he came out of the door, the north wind came with a roar and blew all the meal out of the bowl. Look here. Here he is with the north wind blowing the meal away. And that's for their breakfast. Porridge is like mush. The boy crossed the yard and filled the bowl in the storehouse. But the moment he came out of the door, the north wind came with a roar and blew all the meal out again. Once more he filled the bowl, and once more the wind emptied it. Then the boy was angry. He started toward the north where the wind had his home. He walked and walked, and it was almost night when he reached the palace of the north wind. "Good day," said the boy to the wind. "Thank you for calling on me yesterday." "Good day," the wind replied gruffly. "There's no need of thanks. What brought you here?" "I came to ask you to give back the meal you blew from my bowl," said the boy. "We are very poor, and if you keep blowing our meal away, we are likely to starve." "I have no meal," said the north wind, "but I'll give you a tablecloth that will be better than many bushels of grain. When you want to eat, say to the cloth, 'Cloth, cover the table and serve a fine meal.'" The boy thanked the north wind and started home with the tablecloth. But darkness came upon him before he had gone far. There was an inn nearby, and the boy went in. He seated himself and said, "Cloth, cover the table and serve a fine meal." Immediately, a delicious dinner was before him. The other guests in the inn were wonderstruck. The innkeeper's wife determined that the tablecloth should belong to her. In the middle of the night, she crept to the place where the boy was asleep and took the cloth from him. Here you see the boy just about nightfall and finding the inn where he can sleep for the night. And here you see the innkeeper peeking in where he's asleep. The innkeeper's wife left one of her own tablecloths that looked very much like the boy's. When he reached home, the boy told his mother all his adventures and showed her the tablecloth. "It is a magic cloth," he said, "and it serves a meal whenever I tell it to." "I'll believe it when I see it," said his mother. The boy put the cloth on the table and said, "Cloth, cover the table and serve a fine meal." But the cloth just lay as he had put it, for of course it was not the magic cloth. "Well," said the boy, "I'll have to go back to the north wind and tell him his tablecloth is no good." When he came to the palace of the north wind, he was feeling very angry. "That tablecloth you gave me is no good," he declared. "It worked once at the inn, but when I reached home it had lost its magic." "Someone must have robbed you," replied the North Wind. "I have no more tablecloths, but here is a goat who will keep you supplied with money. When your purse is empty, say, 'Goat, give me gold,' and immediately it will be filled with gold coins." Well, gold was the most important kind of money, you know. The boy thanked the wind and led the goat to the same inn where he had spent the night before. He found that his purse was empty and said, "Goat, give me gold." Immediately, the purse was full of golden coins. That night, the innkeeper crept to the place where the boy was sleeping and led the goat away. In its place, he left one of his own goats. And here you can see the innkeeper is coming in, and there in the corner, you can tell the goat is sleeping. When the boy reached home, he told his mother about the goat's power to fill his purse with gold. "I'll believe it when I see it," said his mother. The boy gave the order, "Goat, give me gold." But of course, no gold appeared. The boy was angrier than ever. Back he went to the palace of the North Wind and told him the goat would not give gold. "Well," said the North Wind, "I have nothing left to give you except that old stick you see standing in the corner. If you say to it, 'Stick, lay on,' it will beat anyone who is bothering you. When you want it to stop, say, 'Stick, leave off.'" This time, when he came to the inn, the boy resolved that he would not fall asleep. He lay down and pretended to be asleep. At length, he heard the innkeeper creeping toward him. The innkeeper had not seen the stick do anything, but he felt sure it must have some magic, as the tablecloth and the goat had. So he resolved to steal it. Just as he was reaching for it, the boy opened his eyes and said, "Stick, lay on." And you see, he sits up, the stick jumps up and beats the innkeeper. Up jumped the stick and began to beat the innkeeper. He ran around the room, jumping over tables and chairs, but he could not get away from the stick. Oh dear, he cried. "Call to your stick to stop, and I'll give back the tablecloth and the goat." The boy gave the order, "Stick, lay off," and immediately it jumped into his hand and was still. Then the innkeeper brought out the tablecloth and the goat, and the boy started home happily, swinging the stick in his hand. And you see, here he is, with all the gifts that the North Wind gave him to pay him back for blowing away his meal. That's a mighty fine goat, you know, with those nice horns. Yeah, that's a billy goat. When the boy reached the cottage, he said, "Cloth, cover the table and serve a fine meal." And there, before his mother's eyes, was the finest dinner she had ever seen. Then he said, "Goat, give me gold." And his purse was piled with gold coins. "We shall never have to worry about a bowl full of meal again," said the boy. and we'll keep the stick standing in the corner to be used if anyone tries to rob us of our tablecloth or our goat. And you see here, the boy's done his magic with the tablecloth, and his mother, she believes it when she sees it. Oh, she's so surprised and pleased. And they don't ever have to worry about having a meal again. Well, this is a good story. You know, you can't trust everybody. Not everybody's nice. Not everybody's trustworthy. And sometimes we have to learn some lessons along the way about who is and who isn't. Here's another one about someone who's not trustworthy. The fox and the goat. You see here? That's the fox and the goat. This is a short one. Reynard the fox was thirsty, and seeing a well, he leaped in. That was good, he said to himself after he had taken a long drink. Now I will jump out and go on my way. But the well was so deep that he could not reach the top. Soon a goat came to the well and looked down at him. Is the water good? He asked. Delicious, Reynard replied. I have never tasted better. The goat jumped down and quenched his thirst. Then he too tried to leap out, but found that he could not. How are we ever going to get out of this well? He asked. Easily enough, replied Reynard, if we help each other. You rear up and rest your front feet against the side so that I can climb up your back and over your horns. The goat did as the crafty fox had suggested, and in a moment Reynard was safely out of the well. Now it is your turn to help me, called the goat. But the wicked old fox only laughed. If you had as much brain as you have beard, he replied, you'd know that I couldn't pull a heavy animal like yourself out of a well. Goodbye, and next time, look before you leap. You see here, the fox is pulling the hairs on the goat's beard. He's just about to fool him. So that's what we have today. Look before you leap. See you next time.